Hey everybody. Today I'm going to show you some answers to the volume and surface area review worksheet, and you can work along with me. I would recommend that you push pause and try it on your own first, certainly, and then watch each explanation to make sure you're doing it correctly. Just keep in mind that the more that you have to listen to me, the less that you know about what you're doing. So make sure you're practicing and asking for help if you need it after the video. I'm going to record this video here. My dogs are in the background, so I'm sure you'll hear them. They're pretty annoying sometimes, so I will try not to get interrupted by them. So for the volume of this cylinder, we always want to do, for volume of things, we're always looking at capital B, and that represents the area of the base. So when we're doing this, remember the big B means area of the base area. And also, when we're doing this, I'm going to use pi is 3.14 to match up with my answers there. So, the volume for a cylinder is capital B times H, or on your formula sheet also, we know that the area of this base is a circle, so it's going to be pi r squared times H. So, for this example here, the radius is 8, and the height of the cylinder is 11. And I always like to explain it as the height of any prism or cylinder as look for one base, and if you can kind of physically pull it out the top or the other side of the shape, that helps you identify which one's the base. And the base always has two congruent faces opposite of each other, just like this circle here. So we'll do pi r squared times h. We're going to do 3.14 times 8 squared times the height of 11. And when we calculate all that, you get 2,210.6 centimeters cubed. Again, when we're talking about volume, the units is always going to be a cubic unit. If we're talking about surface area, it's going to be units squared. And if we're trying to find a missing height or base or something like that, if it's actual length, that's going to be just units. So like centimeters or inches. Number 2, find the surface area. While we're finding surface area, we're dealing with a rectangular. Well, actually, I guess this one's a square prism. Or pyramid, sorry. So we actually have a square pyramid here. And we need to find the area of all the faces and add them together. There is a formula, but for our cases, we're going to mostly just find it by using nets. So if you want to think about a net here of this square pyramid, that's not a great drawing, but sorry about that there. You could actually find the area of all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different faces there. So, I always like to list out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or some people, and this is even maybe better, some people like to just list the shapes like a square, triangle, 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 and triangle. So either way you prefer, this is fine here. The bottom square that we'll do is a square, so the area of that square there is 8 times 8. And that's 64. And the triangle that we'll focus on here is actually, all 4 triangles are actually the same because they all have a base of 8. And since they all come to the same point with the same bases there, the slant height will actually be 8.1 in each of those. So we're trying to find the area of a triangle with a base 8 and a height of 8.1. So that formula is 1/2 times the base 8 times the height 8.1. And when we do that, 1/2 times 8 times 8.1 is 32.4. And as I said, all of the other triangles around the outside are the same, so we get 32.4 each time. Now, if this wouldn't work if it's a rectangular prism, if it's like a longer one like that, because, just like that, because the areas of all 4 triangles aren't going to be the same. You'll actually have 2 pairs of congruent triangles. So to add up our final answer here, to get our final total, we have these 5 different numbers added all up together. And the final surface area is going to be, when we calculate all that, 193.6 inches squared. Number 3. Alright, find the volume. Here our shape is actually a hemisphere, or a half a sphere. I spelled that wrong. It's P-H-E-R-E. Sorry about that. But anyway, what we're going to do is find the volume of a circle, or of a sphere, and then divide it by 2. Or you can think about multiplying by 1/2 as well. So the volume formula for a sphere is 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. And then once we do that, we're going to get make sure we divide it by 2 at the end. So we're going to do 4/3 times pi, or 3.14. And here our radius actually is 12. It goes from the center of that hemisphere just to one of the points on the actual sphere. It kind of looks like it's bigger than an actual radius, but that 12 is the same as this one, or even this one. It's just kind of drawn in different perspectives. So that's our radius. And once we do this math here, 4/3 times pi times 12 cubed. Okay, let's see. I don't have that in front of me here. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong answer key. Let's see. We would get, just to give you a chance to go ahead and do that. Sorry about that. So 4/3 times pi, 3.14, times 12 cubed. You can use that caret button on your calculator, 12, and then the up caret thing, and then 3. When you do that, you get 7,234.56. And then when you actually have to find, remember that's the whole sphere, but when you just want the half a sphere, you have to divide that by 2, and we'll get 3,617.3 millimeters cubed. Number 4, we have to find the volume of a cone. So for the cone, the formula is, and remember this is 1/3 pi r squared h. The only difference between a cone and a cylinder is a cone will fill up a cylinder 3 times. So the 1/3 is why that one's there for the cone. So we're looking at this formula. Here our arrow is pointing to 24 there, and that's the whole diameter. So the radius is going to be half of that. The radius is going to be 12. And this 24 is going to be the height of your cone. So we're going to do 1/3 times pi times 12 squared times the height of 24. So when we do all that, multiply it all out, actually, we end up, and this is kind of interesting here, we end up getting the same answer as before. But the reason they're the same is because they're different figures, but we were doing volume of both of them, and they're all kind of related there. But 3,617.3. Okay. Now, next one here, number 5. We have to draw a net of a triangular prism. So a triangular prism has 2 triangle bases. Okay, prism has 2 bases that are the same. A pyramid only has 1 base. So essentially we have to, if we think about a 3D drawing, we want a triangle. Let me make that a little better. We want a triangle, so let's see if I can get that. Triangle, and then one that's kind of the same size, congruent triangle, just off to the back there. Let's see, that's pretty good. And then we can connect the edges there. This is just the 3D drawing of it. This won't be perfect, but it'll give us a good idea. I could even make the back one here dashed to help us out. Okay, so kind of an idea there, but a net, if we take those triangle bases and fold them back, we would kind of create triangles like this. And then you can see this square, or this rectangle kind of in the middle here. That's going to be in between, whoops, that was bad. That's going to be in between our 2, congruent to our 2 triangles there. I apologize, I can't make this exactly perfect here. And then the other flaps will kind of fold down the other 2 triangle sides, and they'll kind of go like this and like this. Okay, not the perfect drawing, but it is a triangular prism. Number 6, sorry. Surface area. Here we have 6 different faces. So we want to list the areas of all 6 faces and add them up. And we'll kind of do this kind of organized here in a way. This top one is 3 times 6 in the rectangles. So we have 3 by 6, which is 18. And that's the same as the bottom one. Now again, that 3 isn't showing up on there, but you can always copy that 3 from up top and bring it down. So we have another 3 by 6. It's top and bottom. And the next thing we're going to do is look at right and left. And there's no particular order you have to do it in, but right and left, we'll take a look at the left side here. I guess the back side almost. 3 by 5, which is 15. And that's the same as the opposite face there, 5 again by 3. So another 3 by 5 is 15. And then we have to look at the other ones we haven't done yet. And that's going to be that kind of the front and the back, I guess we want to think about it. So the larger, almost a square, but still a rectangle. So that guy, that's 5 by 6. And in the back, again, it's going to be 5 by 6. So we have 30 and 30. When we add those numbers together, that'll give us a final surface area of 126 miles squared. So 126 square miles. It's a really big rectangular prism. 126 square miles. Number 7. Find the volume. For this one we have actually a rectangular prism. The base is a rectangle, so we can outline that base. And to find the volume, remember that 3 pyramids will fill up a prism of the same base and height. So this is going to be 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. And again, that's that 1/3. A lot of people will kind of forget that, so make sure you have that in there. So we have 1/3, and the area of the base, if you want to think about it off to the side, you can. This base is an 11 by 5 rectangle, so that's an area of 55. So our area of the base is 55. And the height of our pyramid from the vertex to the middle of the rectangle down there is 10. 1/3 times 55 times 10. You could also think about this as 55 times 10 divided by 3. And that is 183.3 feet cubed. Cubic feet fit in there. Number 8. This is one that a lot of people mess up just because they don't spend the time to write out the formula and actually solve it here. We're given that the area of a circle is 153.86. So if I draw kind of a circle here, ooh, a dashed circle, how about that? We know a couple things about circles. We know, well, they have a radius, but here the whole area, if you fill up that circle, the area of this circle here, that green part represents an area of 153.86 meters squared. So we'll start with our area of a circle formula, because that's what we're talking about. Area is pi r squared. And we're going to substitute in that area for the formula, 153.86. And then we have pi times r squared. And we don't know what the radius is, but we can use this to figure it out. So essentially what we have to do, and we can think about this as 3.14. We have to undo 2 different things over here. We have to undo the 3.14. So we got to get rid of, let's see if this will work. We have to get rid of this guy. And then we have to get rid of the squared on the r. Now thinking about order of operations, which one do we have to get rid of first? The exponents or the multiplication and division? We're going backwards in order of operations when we're undoing an equation or solving an equation, so we have to get rid of, kind of say, the exponents for the very end. So here's how we're going to do that. First we're going to divide by 3.14. When we do that, we'll get r squared on the right side, because those 3.14's cancel out. And when we do that, dividing by 3.14, we get actually 49. So now we have something squared is equal to 49. And just kind of like the Pythagorean theorem unit, we'll take the square root to undo something squared. And we get r equals 7. And we need to make sure we go back and put the units in here. The radius is going to be 7. And since we're dealing with meters or square meters, this is going to be just meters, because it's just a linear distance. And it also asks for the diameter, so we got to double that to get 14 meters. Okay, number 9. If I can find it here. Okay, number Net of a rectangular pyramid. We've actually seen a couple of those already, but draw a rectangle. Any size will do. And we will have, it's not too good, but anyway, we have 4 different triangles. And as I was talking about before, these 2 triangles are going to be congruent, and then these 2 triangles are going to be congruent. Number 10, surface area. Again, here we're doing different shapes, or still a rectangular prism, so we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 different faces. I'll do this one a little quicker here. 12 times 5, 60. So that's the back and the front repeated. Okay, so again, back and kind of front there. Next one, we'll do the front face. Let me do that in a different color. Okay, so we got front face there. Oh, now I forgot what I was doing. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. We did the 12 times 5, which is 60, so let's do this little guy here. Oh, no, that's what I just did. See how confusing it gets sometimes? Let's do this one over here. Oh, that's why I'm confused, because it's still 12 times 5. So that one is 60 again. And then that one's also going to be 60 on the back side there. So if I move that one over, that one way in the back there. Okay. Now we got to think about which one we haven't done yet. So the one we haven't done yet, let's see. This one's kind of, the picture's kind of weird. But we haven't done, it looks like the bottom one and the top one. So when we did that one, the dimensions of this are actually the 12 by the 12, so that's 144. So that's going to be top and bottom. And then if we add all these up together, I believe we'll get an area of 528 miles squared, square miles. Number 11. Okay, number 11. The volume is 30 centimeters cubed. Find the missing height. So they gave us kind of the answer, the actual volume. So this shape is actually a rectangular prism, and we kind of could use this guy here down at the bottom as the base, because it's already given us what the measurements are. So the volume for any prism is area of the base times height. So we just need to figure out the area of this base, and it's 3 times 2, so that's 6. So we have the area of the base is actually just 6, and we're just going to kind of keep going with what we know here. They told us that the volume is 30, so we're going to put that in for the volume, and we have that's equal to 6 times h. So now we're going to undo multiplication by 6 here by dividing by 6, and hopefully you should see pretty quickly here that h is going to be 5, and that would be centimeters. Put that back in there, you could double check. Base times, length times width times height. 3 times 2 times 5 is how that works. Number 12. Find the volume, and this is a sphere, a whole sphere this time. So the volume for a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. And here the radius, well, they gave us the whole diameter, which is 8, so the radius is 4. So we're going to do 4/3 times pi times 4 cubed. If you have a calculator that doesn't have the exponent button, remember 4 cubed is just 4 times 4 times 4. So when we multiply all that out, I'm going to use 3.14. And multiplying that out, that gives me 267.9 meters cubed, or cubic meters. Number 13. Find the volume. This one, if we look at the base here, we have an actual triangular base here. So this is a triangular pyramid. So the formula for a prism, or a pyramid actually, remember that one, 3 pyramids will actually fill up a prism. So we'll take that prism formula, area of the base times height, but multiply it by 1/3, or divide by 3 at the end. Now I'm going to redraw this bottom triangle, because that's what I got to find the volume, or the area of. And this isn't a great picture, but it's a right angle. We have 6 over here, and 8 over here, and 10 over here. To find the area of that triangle, we're going to do 1/2 base times height. And the base is 6 and the height is 8. Whenever you have a right triangle, the legs of that right triangle are that base and height. So 1/2 times 6 times 8 is 24. So that's going to go in for our B. So we're really doing 1/3 times 24 times the height, which is that distance from the center all the way to the vertex there, which is 12. So 1/3 times 24 times 12, that'll give us 96 kilometers cubed. Alright, number 13. Oh, that was 13. 14. Surface area. Before you start this one, list how many sides there are. If you just did what I did, you probably made a mistake that's pretty common. Here, if you think about how many sides there are on a triangular prism, we have 2 triangles, top and bottom, and there's only 3 rectangles going around the outside. So there's actually only 5. We have 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. So let's start with our triangles, and they're the same measurements. They're always congruent in a prism. So if you can look for one, if you can see one, you know this top one, the one above it or below it is going to be the same. So in this triangle on the bottom, the base is 9, and look for that right angle. The height is this number 3.6. So the area of the base is going to be a triangle formula, 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2 times 9 times 3.6. And that gives us 16.2. So that's, oh, sorry, I almost went and, I was actually kind of go ahead and doing the volume here. I figured out area of the base. We're doing surface area, so we don't need to do that. But anyway, we still need to define the area of that base anyway, so we'll go ahead and write that in there. The first triangle is 16.2. And then the top triangle is the same thing, 16.2. And then the 3 rectangles going around. Sometimes those are kind of hard to see. They get a little confusing at times. So the 3 rectangles going around, I'm going to highlight them as we're working here. Oop, too big. First one, this guy right here, front side. The base and height of this rectangle are 9 and 7. Okay, and then the next one's this one back here. You should be able to see that that one's 7 and 4. And then this one back here, 8. But what's that height there? That's kind of hard to see sometimes. It's not given on either one of ours, but we know that this other one over here is the same distance between, so 7. So once again, the front was 9 by 7, the right side was 4 by 7, and the back side was 8 by 7. So we have 16.2 plus 63 plus 28 plus 56. Gotta add all those guys up. And our final answer is 179.4 kilometers squared. And again, surface area, so we're talking about wrapping that guy up, basically. Alright, getting close to the end here. Let's see, that was 14, so 15. Find the volume. Here we have a cylinder and a cone. And the cool thing about this one is that if you find the area of one of the bases, like this guy right here that I'm just kind of outlining, isn't that base that I just outlined the same for this cone and this cylinder? Yeah, so we're going to use that capital B, the area of that base, twice. So let's go ahead and write that out separately. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So we'll do pi times 1.4, that's the radius, and square it. So pi times 1.4 squared, that gives us, using 3.14, oh, I didn't do that one again, sorry. Pi times 1.4 squared, let's go ahead and do that. 3.14 times 1.4 squared. There's Ruby barking at me. 6.154, so I'll say 6.2. Ruby, shh. Well, you can ignore her. Anyway, so, oh, there's Winnie. Both of the dogs are making noises now. Let me push pause, I'll go get him. Hang on. Oh, how do I push pause? Alright, back for now. I'm sure they'll start barking again. So we gotta do the cylinder first, and then we'll do the cone. The cylinder is V equals area of the base times the height. We figured out that that area of the base is 6.2. Times our height of the cylinder is the 6.2 also. So the height of the cylinder is 6.2. When we multiply those together, we get 38.44. And depending on kind of how you round these, you might get a little bit different answers, but those should be closer, or pretty close. And the cone's going to be 1/3 area of the base times height, or 1/3 pi r squared times h. So 1/3 times that area of the base, which is 6.2, times the height, and this time the height of our cylinder is this guy right here, so 2.6. When we do that, I got 5.37, if I did that right. Yeah, so when we add those together now, because we want the area of the whole thing, 38.44 plus 5.37, I ended up getting 43.81 feet cubed. And the last one here, 16. Very big. The area of the shape is 56 units squared. So we got to find the missing height. So in this one we got to know what shape it is. And here you can hopefully see that we have parallel sides. One pair of parallel sides, so it's a trapezoid. And the area formula for a trapezoid is 1/2 times the base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And we're given the area just like before, so the area is 56. And then we have to plug in a few other things. We also know that the bases are 10 and 4. So it's going to be 1/2 times 10 plus 4 times the height. And again, here's we don't know what that height is, the distance between the two bases. So that's our variable that we're going to try to determine what it is. So we're trying to solve for h. We have some addition, multiplication, all kinds of stuff going on here. If we go ahead and multiply 1/2 times 10 plus 4, 10 plus 4 is 14, and 14 times 1/2 is 7. This is 7h equals 56. And then this essentially means 7 times what number is 56. To find that out, you divide by 7, and you get 8. So the height is 8. And it just said units squared at the top there, so it's just going to be 8 units. Not units squared or cubed here, because we're just finding a height. So hopefully those questions helped you review what's going on for this unit. Definitely let me know if you need any other help with anything. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.